After months of COVID-related shutdowns and restrictions, the merchants of Reading Terminal are a microcosm of a struggling small business community. The market, according to Wayne Baranek, who works at Martin's Quality Meats and Sausages, is a collection of families.
The market's different from a conventional market because you develop relationships with these different families. Like, it's real families. It's not like just numbers or, I've worked for a lot of corporations, and over time you start to realize that you're just a cog. You're just a little piece of the puzzle,
Sydney Poor has been working at Reading Terminal for 18 years. She's owned Market Blooms for the last 2, but she's never faced a year quite like this one.
My goal is just to ride through the rest of this and still have a viable store when it's all over.
Without a Comic-Con or flower show, tourism has dried up, and this lack of foot traffic has impacted certain types of stores differently.
Traditionally, there's a lot of places that want to sell prepared food in here. And traditionally, that's the thing that I think has made the most profit and done the best. The coronavirus just absolutely flips that.
For us, it's actually gotten busier. Like, for purveyors, for fresh food selling, because restaurants are closed, and when people don't have anywhere else to eat, they got to go back to the old ways and go to the store and buy their food. People aren't getting on a plane, buying a fresh ribeye and then flying it back home. It just doesn't work out like that.
Stephen Safran of Herschel's Eastside Deli is a former Masterman graduate. He's also at a higher risk for serious COVID-19 symptoms and says one of the difficulties of working at the market is enforcing safety protocols.
I think our biggest challenge for COVID is getting our customers to wear their masks, because in a market like that, you have people that come in from anywhere. It's so hard to police for us.
But we actually seen people get into fights about distancing and keeping the room. Not fist fights, but it was a little bit more than it needed to be. So we went to a number system, which is great, but it gets to the point sometimes, especially with the holiday coming up, where it's just there's too many people. And we actually have to tell people to spread out, move around, take a walk, we'll get back to you. You'd be surprised though. There's a lot of people that just don't listen to you.
Joe Nicolosi of Tommy DeNick's Roast Pork and Beef has been around the market since he was 5, back when his father Tommy owned the shop. This year, he and many other Reading Terminal store owners have been forced to rely more heavily on deliveries.
We're doing Grubhub and DoorDash and Caviar, and actually we just signed up with Goldbelly, this company where we can ship anywhere in the country. So actually starting next week, we'll be shipping all over the country.
There's a sense of frustration among some of the restaurant owners about government restrictions, and several have been forced out of business.
It is disconcerting, and you have no choice in the matter. You can't say I'm going to open up just because they can't tell me what to do. They do have the power. So, and I do believe that they're doing it for the right reasons, but I don't think that they really have an idea of how businesses really are impacted, and if they are impacted, how they're going to resolve it.
As I said, are doing well. A couple places have 2 or 3 places now have closed permanently. So one of them, which was a buffet. So obviously in this climate, a buffet is not exactly something that does too well in a pandemic. So they closed down, unfortunately.
There was one of the merchants in the market was a salad bar. And she did a phenomenal business on a day-to-day basis. And as soon as COVID hit, you can imagine there's no such thing as a salad bar anymore.
In response, the market has launched a GoFundMe to pay for the utilities of the market itself. The total currently stands at $221,628 out of the $250,000 goal.
So it's just looking for alternative ways to try and make it through when some of your regular revenue is off the table.
The monies that were brought in will either go to maintaining the building, or maybe at some point down the road give some kind of rent relief for a month or a partial month, because the amount of money that came in didn't even cover 1 month's rent for everybody.
There's a certain duality to being a store owner during the pandemic, says Sydney Poor.
I guess I feel like it's a hard balance, because obviously I would like the store to make money, but I also want everybody to be as safe as possible. And to some extent, those two desires are at odds.
However, Reading Terminal will continue to push forward because of its dedicated store owners and loyal customers.
I think it might get worse before it gets better. It's looking pretty bad right now, but I'm optimistic that we are going to come out of this collectively and be busy across the board. I think people might treat this like the Roaring 20s a little bit at the end of it.
It's a melting pot of vendors and families. Like it's a definition of what our city is. You know, our city's not just one group of people. It's all these different people that work together for this common goal. You know, and the Reading Terminal Market still supports that family idea. You know,
I've worked in here for 18 years. It is what I do. It's where I am every day. And it's a good reflection of the city. I love my city. I love Philadelphia.